the firing of Coach Mike Malone. What was your reaction to it?
I had a few different reactions. Number one, Coach Mo is my guy. I love Coach Mo. I text Josh Kroenke before many years ago. And I text Josh and it was around the time where they were kind of like, you could tell they were starting to turn that corner, but not quite there yet, looking to turn the corner. And around that time, it was like noise, like, do Denver continue forward with Mike Malone? And they had a quick playoff exit, I think. And I text Josh and I said, don't be fooled by the noise. I think Mike Malone is your guy. Like, I think y'all got y'all guy. And sure enough, they end up winning a championship with their guy. And so my hunch was right. When I look at him being fired, though, you hear the reports of like people tired of his voice, they're tired of his hard coaching, these types of things. I'm sorry to say, but unfortunately, that's why people don't win. Because you get tired of hearing the voice that led you to being a winner. I will say, as someone who could be the voice that people get tired of at times that's helping lead you to winning, I get why you can get tired of it.
You're not used to it.
I totally understand. It ain't even that you're not used to it. It's that one thing that I know as a leader is I know people probably get tired of my voice at times. I'm not surprised that you get tired of my voice. Quite frankly, I don't give a shit whether you get tired of my voice or not, because I know what it takes to lead to winning. And so to hear people say it coming out like, oh, yeah, they were getting tired of Mike Malone's hard style, like, it makes complete sense to me.
Yeah.
It makes complete sense to me.
Yeah.
Like, people, but even aside from being a player, BD, people get tired of being pushed. And that's what it is. People get tired of being pushed, which is why people don't win over and over and over again, which is why only a select few of people win, because people get tired of being pushed. And so I heard that, and it made complete sense to me. You know, another thing I heard that bothered me is people trying to put it on Russell Westbrook. Stop it.
Oh, yeah, y'all need to stop the cap. That's crazy, cap.
Russell Westbrook make $3 million this year. You're going to tell me anything to do with a coach is the man that make three. If Russell Westbrook a problem, they $3 million they pay him, they can send him home, paid, go home. We don't even want you around here. To try to make this about Russell Westbrook is insane to me.
Man, that's crazy. I think the whole thing with Denver is they just got fatigued, right? You won a championship. Sure. You start eating the food. You start tasting more food as you were cooking. So now you start removing some of your ingredients, meaning Bruce Brown, right? You start removing some of the KCP. You start removing and let go some key ingredients. And it's hard to replace that in the draft and groom that in young people, and then try and get that in free agency. So what is missing is always going to be the main subject.
Yeah.
And you can see last year they got fatigued, right? They're just getting fatigued.
Yeah.
And so the run that they went on to win the championship was a crazy run. But when you played, what coach was pushing you every day, right? When the Warriors, when y'all was winning, you know how to motivate yourself. Your voice may be annoying, or dudes may get pissed off at times, but when you winning, you know you need that. Now, for a coach, you got to understand there's a time to push these dudes, how to push these dudes, where are we pushing to, right? Because when you're talking about your voice as a coach and you keep pushing, at some point, your player's going to be like, yo, I had enough. I know what I'm doing.
But who's the player in their locker room, BD, that's doing that? Joke don't talk much. Like, Jamal Murray don't talk much. So who's the player on that team that's doing that, though? Or does the coach have to do it because they don't have a player? So you got Russell Westbrook, right?
I think they fired the GM and they fired the coach because they weakened the batter, bro.
Well, I'm saying you got Russell Westbrook, who's that type of player, but I already know the type of vibe he's going to come in on because that team won a championship before.
Yep.
Russ going to come in like, all right, maybe I'm going to take a backseat here. I'm not going to do that there. I'm not the main guy here. And so, although you could get that demeanor from Russell Westbrook, you're only going to get doses of it because somewhere there's probably a little self-consciousness of like, they won a championship before. I ain't going to come in and press too much, you know? And so you may have to
They
get
just
like,
they just
depending
not
on
the
your
same
roster,
team.
they're not the same team.
Yeah.
But that's what happens when you start plucking key pieces to championships away.
Exactly.
Like you just said, and trying to do it in the draft. Like
Right.
that's a very tough thing to do. To say that the GM was mad that Russell Westbrook's playing over Jalen Pickett, like
That's crazy. That's what happens, right?
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, but that's stuff like that start happening because everybody wants to experiment, right?
Yeah.
Everybody got an opinion. You've weakened the foundation by letting your key ingredients go. The Warriors were smart about, man, we gonna hold the whole thing together and add maybe one or two guys in free agency, get a draft, and then you know who they're for a year, you know who you need to build a foundation. You got a bad mix of veteran guys and young guys. And you have nothing in the middle that those veteran free agents that you needed and needed to keep and sign. You didn't have them as your glue. So you're really missing the glue. So when you look at Russ, Russ is a glue person, but he's not a glue person, right? He's a complementary piece and he's added value, right, to a team. But where do you fit if you're not a glue guy? Because with the young dudes, they play a different style than the way Joker want to play, or how Aaron Gordon, Joker, and Porter, how all those dudes, Jamal Murray, work together. They need KCP in that position. Then you need Russ coming in working with the young dudes. So everybody is out of predicament. And that's why you fired a GM. That's why I think the coach got fired, because you can't be experimenting and trying to win the championship because you came off a championship 2 years ago. So, it's like trying to find an identity with no identity. But I also think that's why Joker is having a hell of a year.
Because the team isn't as strong?
Because the team isn't as strong. And
so
they have
to do more?
He has to do a lot more. Whereas before, Michael Porter can beat you. Aaron Gordon can beat you. Now those are nights. They have a hot night, but even Jamal Murray, like as talented as he is, it's almost like, and he has been getting injured, but he has not taken it to that next echelon of where his talent was supposed to go, what we saw in the finals. And that's because you lost your key ingredients.
It's hard to lose key ingredients on a championship team and think you can just replace them. It don't work like that, that's for sure. But a lot of people also spoke about like Reggie Jackson being like they lost a lot.
Yeah.
They lost pretty much their entire bench.
You lose
from a championship team.
But don't you think that's your personality too? Right? Because you played on all these championship teams. A lot of these dudes, would you say like, man, that's my guy. I need him, even though he don't play. The personality, right?
Sometimes you keep guys around and they may not play at all. Like literally could be 14th, 15th man. And you tell them Bob, like, or Mike now, like, no, we need to keep that guy.
Yeah.
Like we just need that guy on the team, like for the vibe, for something they bring. It ain't always about what this guy gonna give us in those minutes. Like, and by the way, it's the NBA. Everybody can play. So it ain't like we saying keep somebody who should be playing somewhere else. Like it's an NBA player, but we need you to keep this guy for this reason. Like that. Like it ain't always just about basketball. The makeup of that team, the vibes, like we go to dinners and like keep the vibe right amongst the team. You know what I'm saying? It could be like, in the locker room, this dude always make us laugh and we be needing that when you down. Like it could be anything. It ain't just always that in those couple spots. It ain't just always about necessarily the production on the court.
Right. It's the energy. It's that energy.
1000%.